Hello, everyone. Welcome back, or welcome if you are new. I was tagged in a couple of tags by books I'm not reading, so I will link her channel down below. I'm going to do one tag today and the second one next week, hopefully. This is the currently reading tag, and it was originally created by Charlie Ray. And again, I was tagged by books I'm not reading. And I'll make sure to link all those videos and channels down below for you. Since this video will probably come out during Victober, the quick and easy answer is that I'm currently reading a lot of Victorian literature, but I'm filming this in September before Victober comes along. So I will base my answers on that. All right, so let's dive in. Question 1, how many books do you usually read at once? And I am usually reading more than one, less than 10, somewhere in the middle, I guess. I do read multiple books at once, and sometimes it's the different genres or different styles. Like I can be reading a print book in a Kindle, and then also an audiobook with a short story collection mixed in there, and just the different formats help me be able to keep the story straight. But I have been known to read even more than that at one time. I think Book Time with Elvis actually just talked about this recently, and he said that, for him, it's just like watching TV shows. You watch 3 or 4 at a time and don't really have any trouble mixing it between the different series. And I kind of view reading like that. I'll be reading a mystery and a science fiction and a short story collection and a nonfiction, and it depends on my mood what I'll read at the time. But usually I just like to rotate through those books. So yeah, I usually read more than one at a time. Question 2, if you're reading more than one book at a time, how do you decide when to switch to reading the other book? Do you read a certain amount of pages in each? So yeah, I try to read about 20, 25 pages out of each book I'm reading during the day. And then if I get through that, I'll focus on like my main book. Like I might be reading 5 or 6 books at a time, but one might be a short story collection, like I've said. And but let's say like one of the audiobooks is probably the main one I'll be reading. So if I have some extra time, then I'll just chug through that. Or if it's the book I really want to be reading at the time, I'll just make time. And then sometimes a book will engage me so much that I will just let all the other ones be put aside for a couple days, and I'll focus solely on that one book. But lately, I seem to be jumping around between a lot of different books. And it actually really started during the pandemic time period where, and I don't know if there was something in that experience that just broke my brain or changed my brain about how I intake media, but my reading habits have really changed since then. And so that's interesting if it changed because of it or as a result, or it just happened to be a coincidence. I don't know. But I really especially found a love for audiobooks in just the past couple of years. Question 3, do you ever switch bookmarks while you're partway through a book? Well, no, heavens no. We're not barbarians here, okay? When my bookmark finds its home in my book, it belongs to that book until that book is finished, okay? And then it can go on to a new book, but I don't switch bookmarks out. That's just crazy talk there. So that's my answer on that. What a great question. Question 4, where do you keep the book you're currently reading? Well, a lot of it's on my phone, since I do a lot of audiobooks. I do a lot of podcasts and things like that. So I have an app on my phone, the Audible app, the couple different apps I use to listen to my library books. It's Bridges and then Hoopla, as well as another audiobook app I use. But then as far as tangible books, I have a little side table next to my chair, and I just keep my books stacked there. And then when I finish it, I often forget to bring it back up to my bookshelf. So eventually by the end of the month, I'll be surrounded by piles of books that either I have finished or I'm in the middle of, or I'm getting to soon. And I think if there's ever an earthquake, I'm just going to be buried under a pile of books. But what a way to go, right? Question 5, what time of day do you spend the most time reading? I would say early mornings and afternoons and evenings. So I guess all day. And that's where it comes in handy having multiple books in multiple formats, is that, if I'm out running errands or doing some work, I can have an audiobook in and listen to that. But then when I come home from work, come home from a busy day, I like to rest in my chair and read a book, maybe a physical one, put on some music, especially some music that will fit the theme of the book I'm reading. So it will depend, but I am pretty much reading all day long in some form or another. Question 6, how long do you typically read for in one go? And that'll depend, again, depending on the format I'm reading. With audiobooks, I got to be careful because I'll get so absorbed in an audiobook. I could sit for a couple hours and just listen to it. See, what I do is I'll put in an audiobook and then I'll either do a puzzle or lately I've been playing Minecraft, which is a lot of fun. And it's a real easy game to play while you're listening to an audiobook, I find. But then sometimes I'll fall asleep and my poor little Minecraft carrier will just walk off the edge of a cliff or something, or fall in a pit of lava when I'm nodding off. So I got to be careful about that. It's a lot of fun. I like just to kind of play an easy, simple game. I don't need to engage my brain in too much. But as far as physical reading, I could probably handle about a 45-minute, an hour session without getting too antsy. I used to be better at sitting and reading tangible books for a longer period, but that's one of the things that's changed about me recently. And again, I don't know if that was because I started reading too many audiobooks now, and I can get through books faster listening to audio, but it's kind of where my reading wheelhouse has taken me right now. So I just kind of went with it. But I love, especially with the classics, like Charles Dickens, I like to have that physical, tangible book in my hand, and I will often listen to the audiobook version of it while I'm reading the words, and it helps me get a deeper understanding of the text sometimes. Question 7, do you read hardcovers with the dust jacket on or off? I take the dust jackets off if I'm able to. I know library books, you can't really do that. They're taped on, but I love the book covers, the dust jackets. So I want to make sure I don't damage those when I'm reading. So I'll just take it off, read the book, put the dust jacket back on, and then back on the shelf it goes. 8, what position do you mainly use to read? Well, I like to be in my chair when I'm reading a tangible book, like I've said, so I'll just sit with the book on my lap and read. Otherwise, if I'll read in bed, I have to lay down on my left side with the book propped next to me like that. And I can't flip it around. Like if I'm laying on my right side, I just can't read a book. So yeah, it's very particular as to what position I'm in. Once in a while, I'll stretch out on the couch and read, but now that I'm 44 years old, that's a recipe to quickly just fall asleep. So I got to at least try to stay awake while I'm reading. And then question 9, do you take the book you're currently reading with you everywhere you go? Yes and no. If it's a physical book, very rarely will I take it with me. Or even if it's on my Kindle, I'll rarely take it with me, but I always have an audiobook with me if I have my phone. So I'll make sure to grab my earphones and I'll be good to go. I even have the Kindle app on my phone. I don't like to read my Kindle on my phone. It's just that the smaller screen I just personally don't like, but I like knowing that I have it in case I need it. And it's come in handy a few times. I know it would look like I'm being rude and on my phone and just, who knows what I was doing, but I'm usually just reading a book on my phone. So basically my phone is just a glorified bookshelf. And then question 10, how often do you update your progress in the book you're currently reading on Goodreads? So I am on Goodreads. I'm not really on it for social engagement. I'm on it just to keep track of my own personal reading. And I used to be more up to date on my progress. Like after every reading session, I would log it, and I like to see the little percentage bar going across until I'm done. It's very satisfying. But I haven't done that too much lately. All right, that was the currently reading tag. And again, I was tagged by Kelly at Books I'm Not Reading, which her channel is such a wonderful channel. She's a very positive person and a very encouraging one, that she always encourages you to be kind to yourself. And I think that's such a great message she shares there. So check out her channel. If you're not already subscribed, do it. Subscribe to this channel. If you're not subscribed yet, I'd love to have you here as part of our bookish community. And until next time, I will see you later. Happy reading.